Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRIENDS and Washington, Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news in what could turn out to be one of the most shocking and impactful moves of the NFL offseason. Whispers are swirling that the Pittsburgh Steelers might be looking to make a blockbuster trade that would send their star pass rusher, TJ Watt, to the Washington Commanders. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds like something straight out of a movie, but the sources close to ESPN's Diana Rossini suggest there's real smoke behind these rumors. And if this deal goes down, it could reshape not only the NFC East, but also the entire landscape of the NFL moving into the 2024 season and beyond. Let's take a moment to understand why this potential trade is such a game changer. TJ Watt, at 31 years old, is still playing at an elite level. He's been a dominant force on the edge for the Steelers for 9 seasons now, accumulating 114. 5 sacks, 28 forced fumbles, and earning 6 Pro Bowl selections during his career. His ability to disrupt opposing quarterbacks is second to none, and in 2024, he's been lighting up the stat sheet again with nearly 20 sacks and 45 QB hits, outpacing many other top-tier pass rushers in the league. His PFF grade has consistently hovered above 90, showing just how disruptive he is on every snap. Watt's combination of power, agility, and relentless effort makes him a perfect fit for a team looking to bolster its front seven and establish dominance up front. Now, why would the Steelers consider trading a player of Watt's caliber? Well, Pittsburgh is facing a bit of a crossroads. The Steelers are currently sitting at 9-6, which is respectable but not quite where they want to be, especially with an aging defense that's allowing around 24 points per game. Their cap situation is also tight, with about $15 million in space, and they're in need of major upgrades at quarterback and wide receiver positions. Plus, they're trying to extend key players like Cam Hayward, which complicates matters further. While Watt is undoubtedly the anchor of that defense, there's a growing skepticism among some in the organization about committing $29 million annually to keep him long-term, especially when they're contemplating a rebuild or at least a retool of the roster. This is where the speculation gets really interesting. According to sources, the Steelers might be eyeing a trade that involves 2 first-round picks, 2026 and 2027, and a promising young linebacker, focusing on acquiring assets that would help them rebuild around their core. Trading Watt would free up a significant chunk of cap space, allowing Pittsburgh to pursue other needs in free agency or the draft, such as a quarterback to lead the next chapter or more weapons for their offense. But it's not just about cap space, it's about the long-term vision. Steelers management may see the potential to get a substantial haul for Watt, much like how they traded away Mack in 2018, which helped the team for a time but also left them vulnerable when the roster aged out. For the Washington Commanders, this potential deal would be nothing short of seismic. Imagine adding Watt to their already formidable front, transforming the defense into a true nightmare for opponents. If he joins the Commanders, Watt would immediately elevate their pass rush, which has been decent but not yet elite. With the addition of a player of his caliber, Washington could project a massive increase in sacks, potentially surpassing 15 sacks in 2024, and a significant jump in QB pressures, possibly by 25% or more. For a team that's been trying to establish a more consistent and disruptive defense, Watt would be the perfect piece to anchor that unit. In terms of impact, Watt's presence would be felt across the entire defense. His ability to collapse pockets and force hurried throws would make life easier for the secondary, reducing completions and increasing turnovers. His relentless pursuit of quarterbacks, combined with his experience and leadership, could turn the Commanders' defense into one of the most feared units in the league. Not only would his pass-rushing abilities boost their sack totals, but his presence alone would command double teams, freeing up other players like Chase Young or Montez Sweat to get even more pressure on the quarterback. Additionally, Watt's impact would extend beyond just the pass rush. His run-stopping ability would help reduce the yards allowed on the ground, dropping from around 120 yards per game to closer to 95, which would be a massive boost for a team that's been vulnerable against the run. This, combined with an uptick in forced turnovers, adding roughly 7 more turnovers in the season, would give Washington a huge advantage in the turnover margin, a critical factor in winning close games. Now let's talk about what this could mean in the bigger picture, especially concerning the Super Bowl odds. If Watt joins the Commanders, it could elevate their chances significantly. The current Super Bowl odds for Washington are around plus 20, but with Watt, many analysts believe they could see those odds improve to around plus 500. That's a massive jump and reflects how much this kind of upgrade could push Washington into serious playoff contention. The NFC as a whole would also feel the ripple effect. Teams like the Eagles and Cowboys, who are already contenders, would have to contend with a Commanders front that's now one of the most dangerous in the league. The Steelers, on the other hand, would be betting on a rebuild, focusing on acquiring picks and young talent to set themselves up for the future. They've shown they're not afraid to make bold moves. Just look at how they traded away Mack in 2018. But losing Watt would create a noticeable gap on their defense, especially since he's been a disruptive force for years. Still, if the trade nets them the assets they desire, it could be viewed as a smart long-term move, even if it hurts in the short term. For Washington fans, the excitement is palpable. The idea of seeing Watt in the burgundy and gold uniform is a tantalizing prospect. His addition would send shockwaves through the NFC East and beyond, signaling that the Commanders are serious about competing at the highest level. It would be a statement move, showing that they're willing to invest in a championship window, especially after a season that showed flashes of promise but lacked that extra edge needed to reach the Super Bowl. With the likes of Sam Howell developing at quarterback and a defense yearning for that game-changing star, Watt could be the piece that finally pushes Washington over the top. Of course, this is all speculative at this point. The NFL offseason is full of surprises, and deals of this magnitude don't happen every day. But even the rumors alone are enough to send fans into a frenzy, dreaming of what could be. If the trade happens, it would certainly be one of the most talked-about moves of the year, and it would set the tone for the Commanders' future for years to come. Imagine the energy in FedEx Field next season with Watt lining up on the edge, ready to wreak havoc on any quarterback daring to challenge Washington's defense. And let's not forget, the NFL is all about the big moments, the bold moves, and the strategic chess matches. The Watt to Commanders rumor fits perfectly into that narrative. It's a bold gamble for the Steelers, who need to balance their cap and roster needs, but it could pay off handsomely for Washington if they pull the trigger. The potential of Watt leading a fierce, relentless defense that could dominate the NFC for years would be a story for the ages. Fans are already dreaming of the sacks, the pressures, the game-changing plays, and that undeniable swagger that Watt would bring to the burgundy and gold. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, if this trade materializes, it would mark the beginning of a new era for the Washington Commanders, an era where their defense becomes a fortress, a team feared by every opponent they face. It changes the narrative, shifting from a team trying to find its identity to a legitimate contender with a clear mission: dominate the NFC and make a serious run at the Super Bowl. With Watt leading the charge, the Commanders could finally unlock that full potential that fans have been waiting for since Dan Snyder's tenure started to wind down. The energy around the franchise would reach new heights, and the players would be inspired by the presence of a player of Watt's caliber. On the other side, the Steelers would face a different set of challenges, but one that could set them up for a bright future, especially if they manage to land multiple high-value picks and young talent in return. It's a bold move, but in the NFL, sometimes you have to take risks to get the reward. The league is always evolving, and teams that are willing to shake things up often find themselves on top in the long run. With that in mind, the potential trade of Watt to Washington isn't just about two teams swapping players. It's about reshaping the entire competitive landscape of the NFL. Imagine the headlines, the highlights, and the conversations that will swirl around this story if it comes true. Watt, donning the colors of the Commanders, leading that ferocious defense that could redefine what it means to be a championship team in the modern NFL. His relentless pursuit, combined with a motivated and talented group of defenders, could make Washington a team to beat in the NFC and a real contender for Super Bowl glory. Fans, stay tuned because this story is far from over and the offseason is just heating up. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Do you think Watt will end up in burgundy and gold? Or is this just another rumor that will fade away? Either way, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. We're in this together, and I can't wait to see how this story unfolds. Just imagine, folks, Watt in Washington making history once again. It's the kind of move that can turn a team's destiny around, and I, for one, am here for it.